welcome to my live stream, our live stream actually. And today we're going to be looking at Rich Dad Poor Dad. We're actually going to continue with the review of this book. It started a few days ago, and tonight we're going to conclude chapter 2, right? That is titled The Rich Don't Work for Money. We talked about this extensively yesterday. So in case you missed it, kindly catch up on it on my channel. All right. The Rich Don't Work for Money. This is what we are reviewing tonight. And tonight there is a subtitle here that says The Poor and the Middle Class Work for Money. The rich have money, work for them. Hello, you all are welcome. All right. So this chapter is going to teach us how to avoid one of life's biggest traps. Yes, the trap of money, the trap that money brings, the trap that many people find themselves in when it comes to money. Please, I want you to have an open mind tonight because you're going to learn something very profound. You're going to learn something that is going to shift your mindset about money. All right. So I'm just going to paraphrase what we did yesterday because this is a continuation so that you will understand. So these two young boys, Robert Kiyosaki, the author, and his best friend, Michael, were actually very eager to become rich. And what brought about this eagerness? They attended a school that rich kids attended, but by a stroke of luck, Robert Kiyosaki and this is his best friend Mike happened to be attending that school as well. And it happened that on this particular day, one of his friends at school, Jimmy, invited other kids to like a beach party, a fun beach party for the weekend. And only Robert Kiyosaki and Mike were excluded because they were poor kids. And truly, they were poor kids because it was only by chance that they happened to be attending the school meant for rich kids. And this really pained them, it hurt them a little, and it got them thinking, how can we make money? We too must be rich. Unfortunately for Robert Kiyosaki, his dad was the poor dad in this book. He was a very educated man, but he was poor. His dad did not know how to make money. So his dad told him that he should work for money. And his dad recommended that if he wanted to be rich, he and Mike wanted to be rich because at this point, he and Mike started thinking of a business. They actually started a business like a production business, but his dad told him in the middle of that business that what they were doing was illegal. So he advised them that if they wanted to know how to be rich, he was not in the best position to teach them, that Mike's dad was in the best position to teach them how to be rich. And these two boys were surprised. They were 9-year-olds at the time. They were surprised. Even Mike was more surprised. Like, you mean my dad can teach us how to be rich? How come he's not rich? How come he doesn't have big cars? How come we don't live in a big house? And Robert Kiyosaki's dad said that your dad may not be rich now, but in a few years from now, he is going to be a very rich man because he seems to know how money works. He seems to understand how to make money. He may not be rich at the present, but his banker always says that he's building an empire. And with the way he's going, with his knowledge about money, he's actually going to be rich. And this is exactly what happened. Mike's dad became one of the richest men in Hawaii, right? So they went to meet Mike's dad to teach them how to be rich, how to make money. And he agreed. And he told them that he was going to pay them 10 cents per hour every Saturday. They work for 3 hours every Saturday, and Mike's dad, the rich dad, maybe I should just refer to him as the rich dad. He told them that, no excuses, because Robert Kiyosaki wanted to start giving excuses that, but I play my baseball every Saturday, or is it softball he called it? I play this game every Saturday after having a boring week from Monday to Friday at school. You mean I won't still have my Saturday to myself? Besides, the 10 cents is too small. But Robert Kiyosaki was actually trying to teach them a very big lesson about money by offering to pay them $10 cents, not dollar, 10 cents per hour. And at the end of their working hours every Saturday, they were only entitled to 30 cents, which was really, really small, even by 1956 standard. When this story happened, it was actually a very small amount. So what happened next? Robert Kiyosaki got angry, told his dad that this guy, this so-called rich dad, Mike's dad, is exploiting us. It should be investigated. And his dad agreed, yes, it should be investigated. You must ask him for what you are worth. Don't settle for less. You know, the mentality of a poor man. Don't forget that this is poor dad talking here. No, 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 he should be arrested. This is child labor. And all of that, and all of that. It was just ranting. So Robert Kiyosaki went back to Rich Dad to go and confront him that you are indeed a wicked man. How can you be paying us 10 cents per hour? How? Who does that? You know, you have to increase it. And besides, you promised to teach us how to make money. You are not fulfilling your own part of the bargain. You have not spoken to us. It's been 3 weeks of working for you in this store without air conditioner. It's so hot, the work condition is not even conducive. And you wouldn't teach us. And then Rich Dad told him that he's not going to teach by the conventional or traditional way that they learn at school, where you will just sit down and be absorbing things. No, he will teach them by showing them, you know. You wouldn't teach them that way. Besides, life does not teach you by talking to you. Life teaches you by pushing you around. That is one big lesson I found there. Life teaches you by pushing you around. Anytime you come across a situation in life, whether good or bad, that is life teaching you. And then you have two options, just like other people. You have the option of accepting it, accepting whatever life dishes at you, you know, to just allow life to keep pushing you around, and then you are submissive to life. Or you push back, you fight. So in this case, Rich Dad was actually happy that Robert Kiyosaki was fighting back. And he actually said that if he had not come back to confront him, to fight, to tell him that the $10 was too little, he wouldn't have agreed to continue teaching him, because that means that he has not gotten what he was trying to teach him in the first 3 weeks of working. And he started explaining some things to Robert Kiyosaki, you know, who said that, well, he had two dads, but they had different ways of thinking about money. His highly educated dad recommended that he should go to school, get good grades, graduate from school, and get a good paying job. His poor dad, rather, was more about job security. His poor dad was moved by fear that if you don't graduate with good grades from school, you will not be able to get a good job. You will not have job security. But his rich dad wanted him to learn how money worked so that money could work for him, right? So it's rich dad continued to tell him that a lot of people would have gladly accepted that 10 cents. Instead of fighting, just like this young boy, Robert, at the age of 9, was fighting that the $10 was too little and he wanted a change, that most people would just accept it like that. They wouldn't even fight. What they were going to do was to be bitter towards their bosses, to say, oh, the boss is exploiting them, he's unfair to them. Why? Because these people are moved by fear. They are moved by fear. They don't feel secure. They feel that, okay, if they challenge the 10 cents, for example, or whatever amount they are being paid, which they know is very small, what if the boss gets angry and say, okay, if you don't want it, you go. Or because you even complain, your job is over here. So a lot of people are moved by fear. They don't truly learn. But what Robert had displayed was passion. And we're told here that passion is a mix of anger and love. And that is the starting point, or probably one of the starting points of becoming rich. You must have that passion to become rich. And it is a mixture of anger and love. From the example of this little boy, what happened? He got angry about receiving 10 cents. The moment you get angry about your situation, that is the day that your freedom begins. If you are not yet angry, even though you are not happy about your life, but you have subjected your mind, you have conditioned your mind to accept it like that, Nothing moves you. You said, well, it's my destiny. That is my fate. Nothing is, has no passion, no anger of any sort to say, things are not right. I don't want to continue this way. Something is not right. Until you start having that fear, not only riches, all round prosperity, because prosperity is not about money alone. All round prosperity is not yet in view for you. You need to be angry at that unpalatable situation. You need to look at your salary at the end of the month and be angry about it to say, I deserve better. What am I still doing here? I deserve more than this, because that is what will push you into seeking better opportunities. All right. So he said most people will just take the job like that. And why would they take the job like that? Because they are afraid. Fear is what is controlling them. They will say to themselves, it is better I keep managing this paycheck, I keep managing this salary. It is better than not having anything. It is better than losing this job. And so they keep on working at a job. The fear of not having money to pay their bills keep driving them. It keeps driving them. They wake up in the morning, they knot their tie, they dress up. They wake up at 4 a.m. Before 5:30, they must be out of the house. Otherwise, Lagos traffic is going to hold them. They will not be able to get to work by 7, And so the rat race continues. They are driven by fear. They just cannot stand the thought of not having money. But the truth is that if you want to be liberated in life, you need to be able to let go of the fear of money. You must not let money control you. You must not let it control your emotions, because you're always going to be driven by that fear of not having. How will I pay my bills? How will I eat? How am I going to survive? And so you keep settling for less. That is a trap. That is a big trap. You keep settling for less. And in the course of settling for less, if care is not taken, 5 years will be gone, 10 years will be gone. You're still driven by that fear. How will I pay my bill? Hey, how will my children eat? How are we going to pay our house rent? So whatever anybody offers you, you are willing to accept it. It is a big trap, right? At the age of 9, this boy really wanted to know what it feels like to have money. Unlike most people who become slaves to money. They become slaves to money. Money is driving them. Money should never drive you. You should not become a slave to money. Money is supposed to be your servant. Money is just a means of exchange. The earlier we started, what kind of bad English am I speaking? The earlier we start seeing money that way, the better for us, right? The money is just a means of exchange. It is like a paper like this. But the difference is that it is widely recognized as a means of exchange for goods and services. If somebody gives you a tin of milk, then you tear this paper and give to the person in exchange, and the person can use the paper to go and buy a tuber of yam, or a pair of slippers that the person needs, right? The difference between money and other pieces of paper is that other pieces of paper are not recognized. Money is recognized. There is a print on it, amount written on it. That's just the essence. That's just the difference, rather. So you start thinking money. You start seeing money that way. So there's also a reference here to poor dad, to say that he was highly educated, he was highly knowledgeable, he was actually earning a lot of money. Not that poor dad was not earning money. He was earning money, but he always, ended up in debt. He always ended up not having enough because he did not have the requisite knowledge about money, how to manage money. So it is not about how much money you have. It is about how you are able to manage that money. It is about how you are able to attract more money, Because any money that you have and you don't know how to attract more money to add to that money is going to finish, and then you're going to start thinking of other means of getting more money. That is what happens when you rely only on your job as your means of income. You get your paycheck this month, you exhaust it, you pay all your bills, you buy all the things that you need, and then by the 17th of the month, the money is gone. You are waiting for the next paycheck. If that next paycheck does not come, you don't have any access to money. You don't know how to make extra income for yourself. It is actually a trap. Learning to Learning how to have money work for you is a lifetime study. And this is not something that you learn in school. You have to keep learning and learning and learning. You need to have an open mind. So many people don't know how to make money work for them because they have a narrow mind. Their minds are so narrow. All they are thinking about is, I need a job. I need to be able to pay my bills. And these jobs are also very good at offering people juicy offers. Oh, you're going to be able to go on vacation, by December, all expense paid. The company is going to give you an official car. We're going to give you accommodation. We're going to pay your children's school fees and all of those juicy benefits. Who wouldn't want them? Except somebody who is thinking that all that this company is doing is to hire me to nurture their dreams and forget about my own dream. Now, this is not to say that a 9 to 5 job is not good. I like saying this because not everybody is going to become a CEO, right? Not everybody is going to become a business owner, right? In fact, some people are better as employees than CEOs, business owners, chief executive officers. They are better off that way. They are better off helping other people to nurture their dreams. They will get well paid for it, and they are fine. The moment they start their own business, they're going to mess everything up because they don't know how to do business, right? There's a way to do business, there's a way not to do business. But the thing is that even under your 9 to 5, you must be thinking of how to make money work for you. The salary that you're getting, is it working for you? Or you are the one working for that salary, and once that salary is finished, you don't know how to make money work for you. You don't know how to get more money. Why don't you use that salary, put it to good use? This can only happen if you have financial education, if you're financially intelligent. Unfortunately, salaries can easily blind us because you are rest assured that the salary is going to come in again at the end of the month. And this is what happens. Let's continue. So Rich Dad was really, really intentional about teaching Robert Kiyosaki and his best friend Mike how to make money work for them. And he taught them this number one lesson: avoiding one of life's biggest traps. One of the biggest traps of life is to be trapped by the fear of money or by the fear of not having money, to the point that you keep on waking up every morning to go to that job, even though you know that you are not happy about it, even though you know that you don't feel fulfilled, right? So one of the ways to get out of this trap is to tell yourself the truth. How do I feel about this job? Of what essence is this? You spent 20 years on that job. Every time you have to wake up in the morning, you wake up grumpily. Once it's 4 o'clock, closing time, you cannot even wait to get out of that office and go home. You are just not happy, but you can't tell yourself the truth. It means that your emotion is controlling you. Don't be moved by your emotions. Don't let your emotions do the thinking for you, right? Sit yourself down and think. But your emotion is going to keep controlling you. If you have the fear of money, if you are driven by fear, because your emotion is going to feed on that fear to say, hey, how are you going to pay your bill? You don't want to go to work tomorrow. What if you are fired? But I know some people who overcame this fear and said, well, whatever wants to happen should happen. They were eventually fired, but it allowed them to think straight. There's a way you're going to be broke. There's something we say in Nigeria, we say sapa, sapa. If Sapa holds you, as in Sapa is a state of being very, very broke. You are broke, you are hungry, you don't even know where the next meal is going to come from. If Sapa holds you, extreme brokenness, it will make you to think. And all the ideas that you never thought you had will start coming. And this is one thing that you can do for yourself. Instead of going to that place of work every day, you are not happy, you don't feel fulfilled, you feel like you're being cheated, you're not being paid what is due you, you know, your boss is cruel, your colleagues are mean, and things like that. Is that not a big trap? For how long are you going to do that? You know, they say life is short. Whether life is short or life is long, we're all going to die one day. And then you know that you have only one life to live, right? Is that what you want to spend your life doing? You want to be unhappy all your life? You may eventually make heaven, oh, but coming to earth has been a waste of time. You have been trapped all along because of money that is just an ordinary paper. So tell yourself the truth. Do I really like this job? Is this what I am caught out for? Some people are get trapped because they are now doing this job because that is what they studied at school. And that's why you should be very careful, especially if you have not yet gone to the university. Don't do any course for the sake of doing it because it may define your path in life forever if you are not strong-willed. So, Rich Dad decided to test these two boys, right? He now said, okay, I will increase your pay from 10 cents to 25 cents per hour. They were happy. A part of them was saying, collect it, collect it, collect it. Ah, that's a good offer. But they couldn't say it. Then Rich Dad said, okay, I'm going to increase it to $1 per hour. They looked at each other. Wow, that is a good offer. They wanted to say, we'll take it, we'll take it. But then they couldn't talk. And he said, okay, what about $2 per hour? They still couldn't talk. Even though that needy part of them wanted to accept it. And he said, okay, $5 per hour. And it was at this point that they lost the temptation, the fear, the greed that comes with money. Because the amount was too ridiculous. And they didn't say they were going to accept it. And it was at this point that Rich Dad knew that they were actually ready to learn how to make money work for them and not to be controlled by the fear and the greed that comes with money. And the rich are not left out of this fear. They are also included. In fact, from the explanation in this book, the rich, so many rich people, even though they are rich, are also controlled by the fear of money. Now they've acquired so much money, they are rich, but now the fear of money is driving them in another way. They are now afraid of losing that money. They are afraid of going back to square one. So what happens? They are now being driven more and more by greed, by the desire to accumulate more money. And many of our politicians are like this. Many of them are like this. They want to keep, accumulating wealth, riches, money that they don't even know how they are going to spend it. Some of them will console themselves or deceive themselves to say, I'm amassing wealth for my children's children, my fifth generation, and things like that. But at the end of the day, it is strangers that will spend the money. Because some of them will even forget that, they bought some landed property somewhere, or they kept money in this account, they did all of this. Even those children will later come to squander the money. So they are driven by the fear of money. How will my friends feel that, I used to have money, but I don't have money again? So they keep on being driven by fear, by greed, to keep accumulating more and more riches. The moment you overcome that fear, that is the day your true liberation begins. Don't be driven by the fear of money, right? And a lot of poor people and middle class people also do not tell themselves the truth. They deceive themselves by saying, I don't like money. I don't like money. I'm only doing this job for the love of it. This is a lie. If you don't want to be a slave to money, you have to tell yourself the truth. You know that you don't like that job, quite all right, but you keep on doing it because you're just afraid All right. I want to move very quickly now. So don't let your emotions what you say is not true. Don't let your emotions control you. Okay, yeah, it's not true that they are doing it for the love of their job. Yes, there are some people that love their job, quite all right. But for them to say, "Oh, I'm not doing it for money," is a lie. If they give them a pay raise at work, are they going to say that, "Oh, they don't want it"? Yes, they are not going to say that. So they are just using that to mask their fear about money. All right. So Rich Dad said he wanted to teach them how to master the power of money and not to be afraid of it. And they don't teach this in school. In fact, school will teach you how to be afraid of money. You will be threatened. Oh, if you don't graduate with good grades, if you don't do well at school, when you get out of school, you're not going to get a good job. You're not assured of job security. And this fear keeps driving people, keeps driving students. Oh, they are running, they are, reading at night just so that they can get good grades. Why? So that they can get good jobs. Education is good. Education is not a scam. But then you must know why you're getting educated. Is it just for a job? Or is it for your fulfillment in life? Whether it comes with money or it doesn't come with money. Your fulfillment is very, very important. There are some people that don't want to be stupendously rich. They just want to be okay. And they feel very fulfilled, right? They feel very fulfilled in life. They have all that they need. They are able to meet their needs and all of that. Because when we talk about wealth, it is not just about money alone. If you have money, but you're not in the right state of mind to enjoy that money, this is of no use. If you have money, you don't have good health to enjoy it, it is of no use. If you have money, you don't have peace of mind, it is of no use. So for me, wealth, prosperity is all encompassing. All right. And one of the ways that we are being enticed with money is what I said in the beginning. You are being enticed with juicy offers, incentives at work, fat gratuity, and all of that. And you don't ever realize that you also need to mind your own business by the side. You need to get other streams of income that you can actually start your own business and expand your opportunities. And let me just go straight. I want to read this part to you. Never forget, because your two emotions, fear and desire, can lead you into life's biggest trap if you are not aware of them controlling your thinking. To spend your life living in fear, never exploring your dreams, is cruel. To work hard for money, thinking that money will buy you things that will make you happy, is also cruel. To wake up in the middle of the night terrified about paying bills, is a horrible way to live. To live a life dictated by the size of a paycheck is not really a life. Thinking that a job will make you feel secure is lying to yourself. That is cruel. And that is the trap I want you to avoid if possible. And that is the trap I want you to avoid if possible. I have seen how money runs people's lives. Don't let that happen to you. Please don't let money run your life. Don't let money run your life. You should come to a stage in your life when you're not controlled by money, when your mind is at peace, even if you don't have money in your bank account. And this is the truth, right? It means that you have mastered that emotion, the negative emotion that comes with not having money. You have overcome the fear and the greed that comes with money. You are rest assured that even though you don't have money in your bank account, you're not going to be stranded because you have learned to make money work for you. You know that it's a matter of time. You're going to think of what you can sell. You're going to think of maybe a training that you can organize. You're going to think of a way to get money. But if you don't master that, you keep running helter skelter and you keep accepting every peanut that you are being offered just because you're afraid of not being able to pay your bills, not being able, to do the things that you need to do with money. And Rich Dad told his two boys that if you want to master the negative emotions that come with money, you must learn to work for free. Yes, the moment you learn to work for free, then you're a free person. You have jumped out of the trap of money, which is one of the biggest traps in life. Learn to work for free, volunteer. If you learn to work for free, your eyes are going to open to big opportunities that you may not see if all that is occupying your mind is that salary, that paycheck. And what happened here? Mike and Robert Kiyosaki, they started working for free because Rich Dad now said, you're going to work for me and I am not going to pay you anything. Before I was paying you 10 cents per hour, you were complaining. If you are truly ready to learn how to make money work for you, I won't teach you anything. I won't pay you anything. You will work for me for free and then you're going to learn. And what happened? Their imagination started opening up. And on this particular day, Robert Kiyosaki saw one of the workers of Rich Dad, Mrs. Martins. He saw her rather, gathering comic books because when he was receiving 10 cents per hour, he was spending the money on comic books. He really loved comic books. And so one day, his eyes opened to see what Mrs. Martins was doing that he had never noticed before, even though Mrs. Martins had been doing that every day since Robert started working there. But his eyes were never opened to that because all that was in his mind was that, oh, this 10 cents is too small. What kind of a job is this? And things like that. But the moment he started working for free, he saw this opportunity. He saw Mrs. Martins gathering all the comic books on the shelf, and then I think the first part was kind of perforated. So she would tear it into half, throw one part into like a carton, and throw the entire book into the bin. And then he asked Mrs. Why are you doing that? Why are you trashing the comic books? And he said, oh, that a guy is going to come to collect them, the suppliers. He will come and collect them, take all the comic, books back, and then pick the parts that was torn, and then bring them new comic books. So he said, okay, oh, really? Can I wait for the guy to come? And truly, he waited for the guy to come. And when the guy came, he asked him, please, can I have these comic books that you want to throw away, instead of you trashing them? And the guy said, okay, I'm going to give them to you, provided you promise that you're not going to sell them because they're actually not for sale. I'm supposed to take all of these away and, I don't know what to do with them. You're actually not supposed to sell them. And he said, okay, I'm not going to sell them. Please give them to me. So he gave them to Robert Kiyosaki and Mike. And that day, another partnership began. Don't forget that their first partnership, that they started a business together to become rich, but that one crashed because they later realized that the business they were trying to do was illegal. And what did they do with these comic books? They opened a library. Luckily for them, in Mike's house, they found a free space and they decided to turn it into a library. They told all the children in the neighborhood that they could come read every day after school for 2 hours and pay 10 cents. They'll pay 10 cents and read as many comic books as they wanted. So they hired Mike's sister to help them manage the library because they would go to school, they were still working at the store and things like that. And they were paying Mike's sister $1 per week, yes, per week, to help them manage that store. But guess how much they were realizing? They were realizing $9.50 every week. They wouldn't have even made that money at the store where they were working. $9.50 every week. And they were able to run this for 3 months until a fight broke out in the library and they were advised to shut it down. But it opened up their brain to say, okay, so we can actually make money this way. You see, when you work for free, when you don't allow the thought of money to take over you completely, you start thinking of other opportunities. Some people started their businesses today. They are successful businesses because they were broke, because they didn't have money. They had no job and they were forced to think outside the box. So don't let the lack of money make you fidget to the point of, how am I going to pay my bills? Instead, sit down, calm down and think. You've gone to school, right? Can't you monetize your knowledge? Can't you do something else? If somebody does not hire you, you can do that. But because all that you see is, oh, how will I pay my bill? How will I eat? How will my children go to school? You are fidgeting. It's not going to allow you to see straight, right? There are some things that I've done in life that brought me money. I did them out of frustration. Like, I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be broke. So it forced me to think outside the box, outside of even my comfort zone. There are some things I'm doing currently that are not within my comfort zone. But because I was able to think outside the box. So look at these two boys. I want to read what they said. We are like at the end. He said, by not getting paid for our work at the store, we were forced to use our imaginations to identify an opportunity to make money. The best part was that our business generated money for us, even when we weren't physically there. Our money worked for us. Instead of paying us, Rich Dad had given us so much more. So don't be afraid to work for free. As you are working for free, let your mind be open. What can I learn from here? What can I learn from here? Work for free. Don't be afraid of being broke. Because if you're afraid of being broke, you're going to go out there in search of a job and you're going to accept whatever is offered you. And that can kill your dream. It can kill your passion. It may not allow you to see opportunities. It may not allow you to unleash your creativity. It may not allow your imagination to run wild. To actually also, it may deprive you of also becoming a business owner, you know. So avoid one of life's greatest traps. Get out of the trap of money. Don't be ruled by fear or greed when it comes to money. Thank you very much. We've come to the end of chapter 2, and tomorrow we are going to continue. No, this is actually chapter 2, lesson 1. Yes, not the end of chapter 2. This is chapter 2, lesson 1. We've come to the end of chapter 2, lesson 1. Tomorrow we're going to continue from lesson 2, which is titled Why Teach Financial Literacy. All right. I'm sure you don't want to miss that. Thank you for joining me on this live stream. Don't forget to like this video, drop all of your comments in the comment section below. Kindly subscribe to this channel in case you're yet to subscribe. I remain Olaide Agbaje, also known as First Lady, and on this channel, I inspire you to live intentionally. I'll come your way again tomorrow by God's grace. Until then, be intentional. Bye. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your comments.